Yo, welcome back to Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane. Last time we started case 3. Why do I have 2 saves? Which one? It's this one, yeah, okay. Yeah, last time we started case 3, we met back up with our old childhood friend. Her name was Mosorika Tudor. She is like a Chunibyo. We beat this guy at chess. This guy fell into a vat of acid and died. And it's being treated as an negligent homicide because they're saying that the guy who owns the factory or whatever had unsafe working conditions, and we're defending him because it seems like there is some sort of conspiracy afoot. And there's talk in the town of a mist-weaving phantom who's been stealing things. Everything in red here has been stolen. And presumably the thing that is unknown is the stolen shipment that we didn't... that Stillman didn't want to tell us about. So yeah, that's what we got right now. I forgot exactly what we were doing exactly at this point. Do we just go back to the other places and there'll be something new? Alright, did I finish talking to this guy? Yeah, I did. Okay. I guess I'll just walk around. Oh. We arrived back at the refinery. The Inquisition was still sweeping factory ground, but Stillman seemed to have left. As we entered the factory, I spotted a large, unfamiliar figure. You look very similar to the last guy we just saw. You look a lot like this guy, I feel. Maybe not. You're just like old, fat guys, so... He was old in his years, but his build carried the strength of someone who hadn't spent his life sitting idly. I could see a powerful yet steady temperament in his eyes. His posture carried the shrewdness of a clever businessman. The refinery employees who were still present were deferring to him. He must have been the owner of the Drakigan Trading Company. Age 70. The merchant owner of the Drakigan Trading Company. He's an investor who has helped many commoners start their business in Orphanages. He seems to care deeply about workers' rights and enforces that ideology in his business. Wow. As we approached, he quickly noticed us and began waving us over. Hello there, you must be the famous attorney that Miss Tudor spoke about. I am. I take it that you're the guildmaster of the I'll just say Drakigan Trading Company? It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I really appreciate you lending your aid in this matter. I already told Rika this, but I've never tried a case like this before. I honestly don't know how much help I'll be. Well, there isn't a single attorney in Orphanages that will represent me, so I'd appreciate having you as my attorney, especially with a trial in only a few hours. A few hours? What do you mean? What? I thought it was strange too. The Duke must be pulling some strings. The court usually only rush cases to trial when they involve magic, but there was supposedly no magic involved in what happened. Did the prosecution know something I didn't? I guess it didn't matter. I would just have to do what I could. Okay, if your trial is coming up, we'll need to move quickly. Can I ask you some questions about what happened, Drakigan? There is clearly something more going on with this case. Of course. Hang on, first of all. Oh, is that a runestone? It's an attorney's runestone. It proves that I'm a certified attorney. I'm familiar with the concept. I know that law enforcement and certain members of nobility have these. Honestly, I've always wondered how convenient my life would be if I had one of those. What would you need to... Surely you have the money to buy one. Surely. Why would you need to take notes and pictures of crime scenes? Okay. People, okay, I might be a bit stupid. They've made this joke like 5 times about people using the attorney's runestone for something else. And like, it's being treated as if Tyrion is dumb. Am I dumb? I don't get it. A magical runestone that allows you to take pictures and write notes telepathically. Are they saying like it's a sex thing? I don't... Or just like in everyday life, like unrelated to crime scenes? Because they've made this joke several times and I don't get it. I really appreciate you helping me in this matter. It's fine, if it weren't for the trial, I'd probably be stuck in the blockade like everyone else. Nevertheless, I'm happy to have the infamous Tyrion Cuthbert as my counsel. Infamous? Well, my apologies if that was offensive. That's just what the papers call you. I cringe at the thought of what they might be saying about me. If it was anything like what they said about Miss Tamora, I was probably better off not reading those articles. What do you think about this? Sorry, Mr. Cuthbert, but I don't think I can tell you much about that. Okay. What do you know about the Duke of Commerce? I've occasionally met him at some gatherings. One time, he even complimented my company's success. It's impressive how much one of such modest birth can accomplish, he said. I guess his pettiness isn't limited to when he's losing at chess. Clearly. Rika mentioned that he gave her the capital to open her cafe. After trying her food, I would be remiss not to. I'm aware of how difficult it is for a commoner mage to succeed in our society. That's quite philanthropic of you. While many other businessmen would show reluctance in dealing with a mage, that makes them an untapped resource. Pragmatic might be a better word to describe him. Okay, doesn't have anything to say about the guy that died. How is your relationship with the local workers' unions? Oh yeah, this is a good question. I'd certainly hope they're good. We've had our disagreements, of course, but nothing we couldn't work out through discussion. Working in a refinery isn't without risk, and people want to be properly compensated for that. I just hope we can put this accident behind us and take more precautions in the future. You seem to genuinely care, but that sounded like kind of a politician answer, honestly. But it honestly sounded too good to be true. Merchants tended to be more emotionally guarded. It naturally came with their occupation. And I didn't see any thoughts through the eye of Horus. What was he really thinking? I have to ask, why would you propose the formation of the workers' unions in the first place? With all due respect, I think someone in your position would have every reason to stop that from happening. I don't blame you for thinking that. I'm sure many other merchants in this kingdom would agree with you. But that's exactly why I proposed it to Noah. I've seen how this kingdom treats those at the bottom of society. Those without are treated like tools, worked by their employers until they break and need to be replaced. But tell me, Mr. Cuthbert, do you own any appliance made by Von Sanctus Industries? I have a Von Sanctus brand oven. You mean that one that keeps breaking down? That's exactly the problem. The Duke's employees are so overworked that they naturally can't do their jobs properly. Quality control is non-existent, but it's all about doing the bare minimum required to turn a profit with him. I'm not one to brag, but my products have been touted to be far more reliable than Von Sanctus's. It's a simple thing, really. When you keep your employees happy, they perform better, and that pays itself forward. Kind of. I created the first workers' union with Noah to allow workers to better advocate for themselves. I'm glad to see it set a precedence for the employees of other companies to do the same. I guess I could see his logic there, and Von Sanctus's products were pretty poorly made, which only made those reports of tensions between them all the more strange. There's something strange going on with this case. Yeah, especially with this mist-weaving phantom. There's that, but there's something else that's also stood out to me. Okay, I may have sequence broke, because I don't know if I was supposed to ask about this before I did all the other dialogue options. What's the truth between the tension between Dracogen and the unions? After personally talking to Mr. Morrison and Stefanik Dracogen, one thing is clear. There are no tensions between Stefanik Dracogen and the unions. They had very little reasons to lie to me, and even if they had, their statements wouldn't have matched so closely. But what about those reports Tyrion talked about? They didn't just say things were bad between them, they said they were hostile to each other. I think those reports may actually be related to the Phantom. What? How? What is strange about the Phantom's actions? I don't know for what reason, but the Phantom isn't just looking to steal items of monetary value. Values documents as much as valuables. The serial robber seems to value records and documents, specifically those relating to the workers' unions and the Dracogen Trading Company. How is the Mistweaver Phantom related to Stillman's report? It's not concrete, but if we connect their actions to Stillman's report, something becomes suspect.
Maybe.
This? No, they're always really doing more than just stealing valuables. They had another goal in mind. Fill false report. However the Mistweaving Phantom is, the document they stole are being used to file these false reports. Why would they do that though? It can't be for anything good. They're not just a common tug looking to make some easy money. They're working towards something that's already affecting the political climate of Ornax. Oh, what the fuck? I could feel my hand clenching into a fist. Whoever was filing these false reports was putting everyone in the city in danger. That's kind of hard to read. If this continued, Lucius Stillman might not leave when they find the shipment. He'd continue his bloodthirsty crusade here. I'm going to find them, and when I do, I'm going to wring the truth out of them. What? There's only one person who can tell us more about what's happening in Ornax. Lloyd Von Sanctus himself. Okay, but do you really think he's going to help you though? We don't have a choice. We'll just have to see what we can get out of him. And if that didn't work, I just grabbed the information I needed out from his mind. The Duke's Manor is in the upper district west of here. But I'd be careful if I were you. The Duke of a Pillar family is not someone to be trifled with. That's never stopped me before. Ah, clearly. Either way, it seems like I learned everything I could for now. Did you? It was time to move somewhere else. Stuff to talk about. Rika mentioned that Justin was an employee of yours. Could you tell us more about him? What was he like when he was working here? Yes, I hired him just a few months ago. It's a shame what happened to him, and at such a young age, too. How old was he? Was he a good employee? He was a hard worker, but he was a bit rough around the edges when he first started. He wasn't great at following the rules at first, but he was good with his hands. I wasn't sure what to make of him at first, but Miss Tudor practically begged me to hire him. It did sound like her. She always had a habit of getting involved in her friend's business. He was a good man. All he needed was some structure and direction in his life. After only a few weeks of working for me, he was following the rules more than anyone else here, which only makes me more confused as to why he was up there. Earlier, you mentioned that Justin wasn't supposed to be on the walkway. What did you mean by that? Oh, sorry. Well, Justin worked in an entirely different department. He was part of a team that managed packaging and freight. He had no business being inside the refinery building, much less up on the catwalk. Was he the type of person to wander around places that he wasn't supposed to? We had a few issues like that when he started a few months ago, but like I said before, he always followed my rules when he was working today. It all just makes this whole situation that much more confusing. Sorry, my contractors assured me that the damage to the guardrail was nothing to worry about. From what Rika said, someone used a spell to break the guardrail apart. If that's true, I doubt Justin's death was your fault. I heard that the mist-weaving phantom hit the refinery this morning. Which part of the refinery did they break into and what did they steal? That's the strangest thing. The thief broke into my office and cracked my magically locked safe. That safe contained my business record and several gold coins I keep on hand. They stole the records but left the gold. Okay, I was definitely supposed to see this before doing the whole deduction sequence, because this is talking about what we deduced. Why would they leave it after going to so much trouble to break in? What is the phantom actually after? Your answer is as good as mine. Was the location that just fell from close to your office? Yes, my office is positioned there to overlook the refinery. When did this happen? This morning, or? Yeah, this morning. Okay. If the robbery occurred close to the time of Justin's death, did he spot the phantom while he was up there? Okay, then this is the same discussion. Am I gonna have to do the deduction again? No, okay. Okay. My apologies, but Lord Von Tactus isn't accepting any visitors. This isn't a visit. I need to talk to him right now. The nobleman gestured towards the guard who was standing at the door. So let's get them out of the way. What? We're going to see Von Sanctus. Either step aside or we're going to go through you. Why is he so aggro? Wait, Tyrion, this does not sound legal. Let him in. What? I'm sure Mr. Cuthbert has no untoward intentions. Oh, hello, Mr. Killer. I think it would be in everyone's best interest for him to speak with Lloyd. Sir, you can't be serious. Is there a problem? No, of course not. Please continue in, Mr. Cuthbert. Thank you. Of course, I'm just happy to help. No doubt I'm wishing you luck in the upcoming trial, Mr. Cuthbert. Right. Without another word, the mysterious man started to walk away from the manor. Oh, sorry, I didn't catch your name. You can call me Aster. Oh, wait, is that... Dude, my memory's so bad. We definitely heard this somewhere. Is this who you are getting married to? I don't know, man. This is why I take notes usually. Wasn't Aster the high-profile noble that Mr. Morrison mentioned? Okay, there we go. In what context did he mention Aster again? I don't remember. I'm sure it's on in point, surely. He also owned the ship from which that threat to national security had been stolen. Oh yeah, that was it. Okay. Thank you for making me remember. I looked at the nobleman, then I asked her who was walking farther and farther away. I really needed to know what he saw, but I knew they'd never let me into the manor a second time. The trial was coming up, and I would need to make a choice. Did I talk to Aster or Von Sanctus? I already had Rika's testimony, even if it contradicted the lack of magic traces. The most important aspect of the case was the mist-weaving phantom. I'd have to just focus on Von Sanctus for now. The Duke's attendant led us into the manor before stopping at a closed door. I could hear voices coming from inside it. One of the voices was distinctly Lloyd's. I'd recognize the nasally, high-pitched whine anywhere. Wait here, I need to inform the Duke of your arrival. He entered the room while we waited outside. So do you want to tell me what that was about? What? You're trying to sick me on those two like some kind of dog. I'm not some goon you can use to threaten people like that. Oh, I'm sorry. I was just... You're usually way more level-headed than that. You've been acting differently since we got here. Tyrion, did something happen here? I'm sorry for barking orders at you like that. I grew up here, and I really don't like what's happening. Things are so much better now, and I don't want whatever's happening to ruin that for everyone. Okay, I get it. Just don't do that again, okay? And if you ever need to talk to someone, let's just focus on the investigation for now. Okay. Presumably related to his mom that died. As we entered the nearby room, we came upon Lloyd von Sackler speaking with another unfamiliar individual. You're the head of the other family, right? So I just knew you meeting the Crown Prince was a disaster waiting to happen. What? I heard about what happened. Crown Prince asked her like you in, didn't he? Okay, yeah, so that is who you're engaged to. Okay. That man was the Crown Prince? I knew I'd recognize that name somewhere. This is what I got for not reading the paper more regularly. Okay, one thing at a time. Since I have you here, do you mind if I ask you some questions about Oranax? Absolutely not. Get out of my house. Why not indulge him, Lloyd? He seems harmless. Coraline. Anyways, you're waiting for Valada to return, aren't you? He stayed silent for a while before he let out a heavy sigh. Very well. I'll answer your questions, if only to show you how little of a case you have. Maybe you can convince your client to accept the futility of his situation. Thank you, Miss... I'm Coraline Sybil, head of House Sybil, and Warvengard's Duchess of Law. Her noble house is one of the 4 families that is the most powerful of them. Really? I thought the Stillwinds would have the most power. Her family has managed the judicial and legislative branches of Warvengard's government for generations. I think it has been mentioned that the Sybils were the most powerful, I guess. Oh boy. What's this, a runestone? It's my attorney's runestone. I guess they must give the older models to people of your station. As a Duke of Commerce, my runestone is always the latest model. Can I see it? No. Damn. I thought the papers were exaggerating, but you truly are just as impertinent as they say. From you, I'll take that as a compliment. What goes on in that head of yours? You people honestly think you're changing anything by slinging mud at the nobility? As long as I can save one person, I'll be happy with that. Taking whatever you can get. I suppose that suits someone of your birth. Okay, this is a problem I think I've had with this game since the beginning, but like the nobles are way too over the top. Like, come on, they're like Scooby-Doo villains. Like, I think it should have been toned down a notch, maybe. Like, don't waste my time, boy. I have nothing to say about that. We'll read tomorrow. She's been a pain for as long as I can remember. How do you people live with yourselves? You're just as responsible for this unrest as the criminals you protect. We only work within the confines of your corrupt system. If justice sides with us, then that's your own fault. So you're simply in denial. Lloyd von Sackler, you're the Duke of Commerce and the patriarch of one of the 4 pillars. What of it? I just imagine the face of my enemy to be a lot less weasel-like. Okay, chill. Man, people like you look exactly like what I imagined. You're all just naive and bright-eyed children. That was uncalled for. Did you know the victim in the accident? No, why would I? He was just a factory worker. Doesn't care. Stefan and Dracogen, even ever the thorn in my side. I don't suppose you'd be willing to drop the charges you've laid against Dracogen. I thought you were smarter than that. It's worth a shot, but it's obvious that you're not one for competition. Why else would you be trying so hard to squash a small company? Oh, is that what you think? How simple-minded of you. Am I wrong? Von Sackler's industry is massive and has operations throughout Warvengard. He's just one merchant in one city. That one merchant spreading insidious ideas like it's the plague. So encouraging workers to unionize and protect themselves is insidious? Oh yes, it sounds very flowery and marvelous when he says it, but have you ever stopped to think about what he's doing? He's encouraging those at the bottom to stand together and take power away from those above them. What's the difference between that and insurrection? They're advocating for their basic human rights. And do you want to know something? That's not entirely unreasonable. I'll admit that I'm actually pleased that fewer employees are getting hurt in the city. Oh really? You may think I'm a heartless, but I'm not a monster. If these unions simply kept people safe, I would take no issues with it. But it's never going to stop there. We give these people power and they'll just become hungry for more. They'll take and take and take until there's nothing left for the rest of us. Come on. So they'll do what you do. The difference is that they won't care when our societies devolve into anarchy. This is like a fucking a Darman video villain, you know? Like in the Darman videos where they just like have someone be like as unlikable as possible, and then at the end they get their just desserts. Like it's very over the top. Is something wrong? It's nothing. Talking about it would be pointless. As the Minister of Justice, he probably sees you at the face of corruption in this line of work. I understand you may have grievances with the current justice system, but it exists like this for a reason. That's easy for you to say. You're not the one affected by it. How could I not be affected by it? My house's sole responsibility is managing and facilitating the laws of Warvengard. Your system sentences innocent mages to death. I would watch your tone, boy. It's only by her generosity that I haven't had you thrown out. It's quite alright, Lloyd. You may think the justice system is cruel, you may even think it's been corrupted, but one cannot expect perfection from a system so large. I believe the generation that came before me had created the closest thing to it. Really, how self-gratifying of you. The laws of our kingdom aren't a monolith. They are changed and reinterpreted by the House of Lords as it was designed to. The House of Lords is just filled with nobles who mold the law to suit them. You may hate the nobility, but they have the best perspective on how Warvengard must be run. And the aristocrats aren't the only people who have a voice in the House of Lords. The commoners have their own representatives there as well. The records of our assemblies are in the public record. You often see those same representatives vote in harmony with the nobility, because the nobles are probably paying them off. That's a grave accusation. Do you have any evidence to support it? I don't, but wouldn't it be simpler to say that those representatives are voting in disagreement with you? You do not speak for the commoners. The only voice I trust is that of the House of Lords. Okay. Okay, this is the same. Oh wait, we haven't investigated. It's a large mirror. I'm sure a nobleman like Von Sacker spends hours looking at himself. I'm standing right here. It's a window. I can see the entire city from up here. I'm sure the Duke of Commerce enjoys looking down on people he's ruling over. Well, that's not untrue. Come on. It's a fireplace. I can smell the sweet scent of apple wood burning. Oh. There are 2 cups of tea poured on the table. The fragrance is refreshing. It must be an exotic brand. I'm not going to offer you any if that's what you were expecting. Oh. It's a landscape painting. Is that a Lake Galacround? Yes, I did a commission last month. The view of the Grand Cathedral is quite lovely this time of year.
Repario Arcanum.
Oh. There's a shelf full of books. What's this? Don't touch that. Chest theory for dummies. Irk! Well, at least you're being honest with yourself. You know, I can still have you thrown out. I don't like this. This is so, like... I don't like this characterization. But whatever. Coral and Sybil. You've been awfully quiet. I didn't want to interrupt. Yet you're just as responsible for the commoner's suffering as he is. Tell me, Mr. Cuthbert, do you think artificery plays a vital role in this society? Of course I do. It's the only way for us commoners to use arcane magic. Correct. The existence of the arcane refineries is essential for a society to function. So, Mr. Cuthbert, do you ever work in one? No, but you wouldn't, because you were afforded privileges that many others do not have. No one wants to do that sort of work, but someone has to for society to function. Everyone has their role in the Warfengard, and more often than not, people don't receive a role they like. No one decides what kind of circumstances they are born into. Only the cosmic balance decides that. Cosmic balance? Oh, please don't get her started on that. Cosmic balance is the chaos of the universe, the law of averages made manifest. No one can control the outside forces that determine their lives. Some are born into the aristocracy, and some are born into poverty. That's awfully easy to accept when you were born in the former. The world is not fair. It has never been fair. So we build systems to keep it from crumbling under its own cruelty. Systems that benefit you. Systems that protect the aristocracy and grind everyone else down until they outlive their usefulness. There must be stability, even if it causes discomfort. The chaos of the universe may seem cruel, but it's fair. The system wouldn't be this way if it didn't work. False reports. Since you do care about the system so much, you should know that someone's abusing it. Is that so? I'm sure you've heard about the Mistweaving Phantom. I believe they've been stealing official records from the unions and the Dracagan Trading Company. They've been using those records to craft false reports about hostile tensions between them. That's... Pause for a moment. Is something wrong? I think what he's saying is actually quite plausible. Wait, really? There has been something peculiar about the recent string of robberies, namely who they've been targeting. Are you talking about how they hit the union offices? I'm sure I'll regret telling you this, but there's something about these targets that hasn't been released to the public. Many of the individuals who were robbed were secretly plotting treason against the kingdom. Are you only saying that because they were members of the union? I'm saying that because law enforcement found hidden illegal communications, weapons, and explosives at the site of most of the robberies. Oh. So are you saying that... What about the ships that were, they were your ships? You weren't planning a revolt, I don't think. Maybe some of the workers there? It was strange. There were many times when the victims returned home to find their houses ransacked. When the City Watch arrived to investigate the crime, they noticed one peculiarity. The victims never called the City Watch to report the crime, someone else did. Despite the clear fact that the crime had occurred, Some of the victims resisted attempts to search their home. The Knights found that quite suspect and found that as a probable cause. They found evidence of treason when they searched the victims' homes. It was as if the Phantom were intentionally targeting those who were plotting against the crown. Interesting. Was that the only reason they were doing the robbery? Was to bring attention to these dissidents? Man, the mist-waving Phantom has been busy. They stole from a ship in the harbor, they stole from the Union, they stole from the Drakigan office, and they stole from just random people's house who are like planning to revolt. What reason could the thief possibly have to do that? It's clear that the thief wants the crown to be aware that the insurrection is brewing within the Ornax. With those false reports, a far more dire situation is being painted. Who do you think would benefit the most from something like that? One prolific noble came to mind. Grand General Stillman is involved in this somehow, I'm sure of it. Corley, I understand you've always cared for him. However, even you must admit he's never been the same since that tragedy with Ophelia. The tragedy with Ophelia? Even so, it's not my place to decide that. It'll be up to the House of Lords. Really? Even now? You have no evidence. The House won't condemn Lucio based on hearsay. Until then, the Grand General will fulfill his roles in the kingdom. Even while countless innocent lives have been lost under his watch? Pah! Soon the Grand General will be obsolete. Could the Mist-Waving Phantom really be an agent for Lucio Stillland? But if their intention was to reveal insurrectionists, why would they have bothered robbing the merchant shipments? Was it just to create a cover to hide their true intentions? Either way, if the Phantom was at the refinery that morning, it's possible Justin spotted them. They remain unseen throughout the string of robberies. Did the Phantom attack Justin to keep their identity hidden? Maybe. The trial was coming up soon. I still didn't have any definitive evidence to prove Justin was even attacked. But it could be helped. I ran out of time. I would just need to work with what I had. Is that it for the investigation? It is, okay. So, based on my heuristic from last case, I said that usually you would always see the killer in at the beginning of the case. So presumably I have already seen the killer. So ignoring all the recurring characters, it's on you, it's on you, it's on you, it's on you, it's on you. So it's one of these 5. I would be very surprised if it was you. It could be, I guess. Yeah, it could. No, it could be you. It could be you. I would be very okay. It's not you for sure because you're a defendant. I mean, it could be because they do sometimes pull that as like a twist, like, oh, your defendant was actually the culprit. Ooh. Yeah, I don't say it could be any of these 5. It's definitely not likely for it to be one of these 2, though. I would say these 2, especially you. I don't think it's you. It could be you. You're more likely to be the culprit than he is. But no one strikes me as obviously the culprit right now. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you haven't met the killer yet. I don't know. Rika, are you okay? Do you even need to ask? Of course I'm not okay. This place is crawling with knights and nobles. I understand your reservations, but there's nothing to worry about. They're just here to watch a trial. I really appreciate you coming to testify, Miss Tudor. I can imagine it's difficult for you to return here again. What? My apologies, perhaps I've said too much. Sorry, let's just get this over with. Come here again? What happened? Court is not essential for the trial of Stefanik Drakigan. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is also ready. Very well, Prosecutor Stillman, could you please list the charges? Stefanik Drakigan is the owner of the Drakigan Trading Company located in the city of Ornax. His company has many business ventures in Ornax and Ratholm, but his business is most known for the productions of artificial devices. I thought I recognized the name. I'm quite pleased with my Drakigan brand dishwasher. You have dishwashers? Be that as it may, Your Honor, Mr. Drakigan is charged with criminal negligence resulting in death. The accident occurred within the Ornax Arcane Refinery owned by his company. The victim, Justin Wade, leaned against a damaged guardrail, causing it to break. As a result, he fell into a vat of volatile chemicals. Attempts were made to save him, but by the time they could neutralize the vat, he was already dead. That's certainly a very gruesome way to go. The defendant displayed clear negligence in maintaining the refinery's facilities. As such, the responsibility for Mr. Wade's death fell squarely on his shoulders. Objection! Oh, that was fast. Your Honor, this case isn't nearly as mundane as the prosecution is making it out to be. Justin Wade didn't fall into that vat because of a faulty guardrail. He fell because he was pushed off the catwalk by an arcane spell. Mr. Cuthbert, are you trying to say that the victim was murdered? One of the witnesses claimed that they saw a spell hit Mr. Wade before he fell into the vat. However, that testimony is completely contradicted by the lack of magic traces found anywhere near the catwalk. If you're so confident, Steelwind, why don't we bring some witness onto the stand so she can testify herself? Fine, let's hear what she has to say, but I'm sure you know that even she has no idea what she saw. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the courtroom. She seemed to be okay, but she looked pretty nervous in the lobby. I only hope that this wouldn't be too much for her. So you seek the title of the Deathbringer Songstress. Scale Lord, was she seriously going to do that here? What? I lie between life and death, heaven and hell. None are worthy of my name, so consider this a courtesy. I am Mosarika Tudor, Mage of Evocation, and the Ashen Lord of Ornax. I wasn't aware that the kingdom had a title like that. The world really has changed a lot in recent years. Your Honor, the witness is a business owner in Ornax. She runs a cafe. Why would the Ashen Lord of Ornax run a cafe? I ask myself the same question every day. Rika, can you please not do this right now? It helps me cope, okay? Ahem, Miss Tudor, can you please testify about what you saw at the refinery that morning? I think we could all do without the verbal flourishes. Ugh, fine. Alright, you probably press everything here, right? I don't think there's going to be a contradiction. I was delivering food to Justin that morning, but I didn't see him anywhere in the freight area. Which is where he was supposed to be, yeah. I went looking for him and spotted him on the catwalk. He looked like he was walking to someone. He was talking to someone. That's when I saw a flash of magical light. Justin got blasted with a spell. It ripped apart the guardrail he was laying on, and he fell into the vat of chemicals. I told one of the workers what happened. They tried to save him, but I guess it was too late. Yeah, I don't see any contradictions there. I'm sure Mr. Cuthbert has told you this when we didn't find any traces of magic near the catwalk. I know what I saw. Someone definitely used magic on him. She seems very sure of that. She definitely was in line, but I still couldn't figure out why there weren't any traces of magic there. And there was something off about something she said, but I wasn't sure what. Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination. If the Phantom really did kill the victim just because he saw his face, wouldn't he have killed her too? Or did he not notice? Or did they not notice? Is he normally in the freight area when you make your deliveries? Yeah, but I guess he was doing something in the refinery. According to Dracogen, the victim only worked in the freight department. He definitely wasn't doing his job when he was in the refinery building. Do you have any idea why he was there? I don't know. He didn't talk much about what he did, so I just assumed he was supposed to be there. Did you see who he was talking to? No, they were too high up, and the catwalk was blocking them. But he looked kind of angry. He also looked a little scared. What? Do you think he was talking to the thief? He might have spotted them robbing my client's office. Jackson! It's purely speculation on your part, Mr. Cuthbert. At the very least, you need the witness to even entertain that theory. And the Tyrion witness didn't see who the victim was talking to. I'm compelled to agree, Miss Stillwind. Have you been able to figure out what kind of spell he got hit with? No, I've been thinking, but I've never seen a spell like that. My expertise is in evocation magic, and that spell looked completely different from the spells I can cast. I remind the court that the Inquisition found no traces of evocation magic at the scene of Mr. Way's death, and evocation couldn't have ripped that guardrail apart. It was artificery, which can only mean that a spell from a different school of magic broke it. Or the witness is simply grieving and doesn't remember what happened. I have records that showed that the guardrail was damaged and in need of repair. Our client's contractors assured him that the damage wasn't severe, yet the guardrail broke apart anyway. If you want to posit that the spell broke the guardrail, you'll have to prove it. I know this must be difficult for you, but can you remember any more details about the moment Justin fell? I guess I need to know what details you want. Oh, okay. What did the spell look like? How did the spell affect Justin? How did the spell... I mean, all of these. I guess we'll go top to bottom. What did the spell look like? Any detail might help us identify it. I don't know. I only saw it for a second. It didn't look like an explosion or anything. It kind of looked more like an expanding prism. A prism? Yeah, it had really sharp edges like a cube, but it was wider than it was solid. Witness, could you add this detail to your testimony? Okay. Where is it? A magical expanding prism. Are we saying it was this, or? I don't think this contradicts anything. What did the spell do to Justin? How did it affect him? After that flash of light, it looked like he lost his balance. He tried to catch himself in the guardrail, but it was already broken apart. You fell right into the vat of chemicals. Wait, could you add this detail to your testimony? Okay. It ripped apart the guardrail he was leaning on. Okay, so the testimony now it doesn't have the thing about it being a prism. So I need to decide which testimony I want and present it on that. It ripped the guardrail apart. I think that's fine. Dissolution. I don't think that's the contradiction. What did the spell do to the guardrail? Like I said, it ripped apart the guardrail. How did it do that though? Did the spell slowly break it apart? No, it happened instantly. It was kind of like what happened when you pull a rubber band so hard that it snaps. The spell broke the guardrail instantly. It must have been some kind of instantaneous effect. We already knew that there weren't any traces of evocation on the catwalk. So what kind of spell did the mage use? Goodness, could you add that detail to your testimony? Okay. It violently and instantly ripped apart the guardrail. Covered in traces of conjuration magic. I don't see the contradiction. Let me press the last statement, I guess. How did they try to save him? The chemicals that the victim fell into were extremely volatile and corrosive. They poured a neutralizing solution into the vat to keep it from eating away at any implement they used to fish him out. The downside of this process was that it took far too long before they could remove the victim. I thought those chemicals were just toxic. Are you telling me those dissolved him while he was still alive? I winced. I really wanted to avoid letting her find out about that. Perhaps we should move on. Your testimony is the best piece of evidence we have. Is it really a good idea to find a contradiction in it? Even she doesn't know what happened, and there's something nagging at me. If I can find it, it will put us one step closer to the truth. If you say so, I just need to look at the details she's testifying about and find out what doesn't fit. Okay, I'm stuck. I don't know. The three details she can say is that it ripped apart the guardrail instantly. We can have that it was a prism, and we can have that it made him lose his balance, right? How does any of those contradict with anything? I mean, there's this that wasn't dissolved. Man, I'm already stuck on the first testimony. This isn't good. Okay, it's either this or this, right, surely? Because these are the only two things even related to him falling into the vat of acid. A magical expanding prism. He tried to catch himself on it and fell. Oh wait, is it that if he tried to catch himself, how is he holding this also? Objection! Nope. Tried to catch himself, but fell into the vat of chemicals. Man, oh man. Is it just a ring here? Are we just saying like how did the ring not dissolve? Objection! Nope. It's clearly on this statement, but If I had to guess which one of the three it is, it would be the fact that it was a prism. This one was about it broke instantly. Violently and instantly ripped apart the guardrail he was leaning on.
Objection!
Very sharp edges like a cube. It was wider than it was tall. Expanding prism. I'm just confused about like the logistics of this, because like they're on the catwalk, and there's an expanding prism that is activated or somehow, and it breaks the guardrail first before pushing him off. Like, I don't understand. How would it break the guardrail behind him before just like pushing him against the guardrail? Like, the guardrail he was leaning on. I mean, your description here sounds a bit different, because here you're saying that he was already leaning on the guardrail and that he got pushed into it. But here it sounds like you're saying that... Yeah, here you're saying that he was leaning on it and that he like fell into it because the prism destroyed it. But here it sounds like you're saying that he got fucking like blasted into it, which is different to me.
Objection!
No, that's not it. I guess I just gotta try shit at this point. Why does it sometimes go to the next statement when I present something and sometimes it doesn't? Like here it stayed on it, but sometimes it went to the fifth statement when I presented something and it was wrong.
Objection!
I'm just presenting shit at this point, I don't know.
Objection!
Are we saying, is the contradiction, quote unquote, that the cube was maybe the thing that was stolen?
Objection!
No. Is it not this then? Because I presented all four of these. There's no it's this. There's no it's this, right?
Objection!
No, it's not this. It's not this. I don't think this is relevant. I have dissolution.
Objection!
I don't. The autopsy report doesn't tell us anything either. Okay, so it's not this then. It's one of the other two. He lost his balance. Or he tried to catch himself, rather. Tried to catch himself and fell.
Objection!
Really? Rika, there's something off about your testimony. Really? It's the same as what I told you before. The mistake was mine. I was so focused on trying to figure out what that spell was and who cast it. I didn't even think about what it actually did to Justin. This whole time we assumed that the spell pushed him into the vat. But how could it have pushed him into the vat if he only fell after the guard had been ripped apart? Okay, so that is kind of what I was saying about like me being confused about like the order of operation with the spell. But I don't know if like presenting that evidence in that statement like represents that idea very well. I don't know. What? Rico, you said that Justin fell because he tried to catch himself on the guardrail. I thought the spot pushed Justin while simultaneously ripping the guardrail apart, but it didn't push Justin at all. I guess that makes sense, but does it really change anything? It does, because it raises another question. If the spell produced enough force to rip the guardrail apart, why didn't it appear to affect Justin at all?
Objection!
It didn't appear to affect the victim because there was no spell. Justin Way broke the guardrail because it was faulty. No, I saw it. He only fell in because the guardrail was already destroyed. Your Honor, the defense brought this witness to testify only to contradict it during their own cross-examination. They have no case. My witness is certain that she saw a spell destroy the guardrail. The witness is a business associate of the defendant. She clearly has every reason to lie in her testimony. So you're baselessly accusing my witness of perjury, Stillman? I am. It's not as if this is her first time breaking the law. What? Ugh. Miss Tudor, I understand that you run a cafe in the food district. This cafe would not exist without the generous patronage of the defendant. Yeah, but you must feel quite indebted to him, after all. He saved you from the kind of life you lived before. Rico, what is she talking about? You truly didn't know, Mr. Cuthbert? Before your witness ran our cafe, she had another vocation. She survived by robbing the shipments coming into Ornax Harbor. Rika, that's not true, is it? So many things changed after you left, Tyrion. Several years ago, Miss Tudor was part of a band of thieves who would frequently rob shipments addressed to Von Sanctus Industries. Her group was eventually arrested, and she only avoided sentence to the dungeons by taking a plea deal. Oh my god. Is this that big of a deal? Did she seriously do all that in the years I was gone? I knew her. I grew up with her. Had things really changed that much? Even so, the defense still maintains trust in the witness's testimony. I believe the misleading phantom struck the refinery that morning. They attacked Justin with magic. Is that so? And how do you know that the current witness isn't this phantom? That's what I said earlier, I think. What? She was coincidentally present when the robbery occurred, and she's a registered mage. Not to mention that her little gang all those years ago used that same name. What? I always thought the nickname sounded too much like something she'd come up with. Was she seriously involved with them? I thought you never backed down from a foe, Mr. Cuthbert. You could make a great case for client by indicting Miss Tudor in the robberies and subsequently the victim's death. What would you do? No, there could be any number of explanations for what was happening. Her myths tended to be distorted by the public. It's possible people have just been calling this thief the misleading phantom because of the similarities between the robberies. I mean, yeah, the thief isn't calling themselves the misleading phantom, right? That's just what people call them. They haven't left calling cards or anything. The defense has no further question for the witness. She is dismissed. I thought you were more objective than that. I don't care what she's done in the past. I know my friend, and I know she's not a murderer. Clearly, what happened that morning was the result of simple negligence. Your Honor, for our next witness, the prosecution would like to call Orm White to the stand. Very well, bailiff, please call the Inquisition Commander to the stand. Commander, as I'm sure you've heard, Mr. Cuthbert is trying to connect the accident to the robberies of the misleading phantom. Please testify about the City Watch's findings regarding the robberies. Sure. Alright, sure this one won't be as hard as the last one. So this phantom's been hitting a lot of places, mostly shipments coming into the harbor. Doesn't matter what kind of locked security the place has, you can get in no problem. He's made off with a bunch of loot, and the City Watch has been scratching their heads looking for him. I know you think the guy hit the refinery too, but it doesn't match with what we know about him. The guy only stole some documents and left the defendant's gold. The guy never does that. He did with the Union. The connection between the misleading phantom and Justin's death was already difficult to prove. There was no evidence, but they had to be related somehow. It would be too much of a coincidence otherwise. How could I prove that? Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination. Is it that easy?
Objection!
Okay, yeah, it was that easy. Commander, so you think the Phantom wouldn't have gone to all that trouble to steal a few business records? Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. This guy has enough skills to break into heavily guarded buildings. Why would he bother with some business records? That's where you're wrong, Orm. Kate, why do you always have to do this to me? There's another series of thefts where nothing inherently valuable was taken. The misleading Phantom also broke into many of the offices owned by the workers' unions. Again, you're assuming that the Phantom broke into said offices. It's entirely plausible that a refinery employee who was part of the union stole from both of these offices. A union member may have been able to access my client's office, but they wouldn't have such an easy time entering the union offices. Many of the unions have anticipated sabotage and have invested in state-of-the-art security systems. They're taking precautions to make sure that only high-ranked officials have access to these documents. There's only one person with the skills to break into these locations, and that's the same thief who's been robbing those ships in the Ornax Harbor. And what possible motive would the Phantom have to steal these documents? That's simple. They wanted detailed information on my client's company and the workers' unions. The witness always looks so short. And When it zooms out and shows the whole courtroom. In all of your wild speculations, I think you haven't considered one possibility, Mr. Cuthbert. And what's that? That the unions themselves were the one who robbed your client. You said it yourself, only high-ranking executives had access to the union documents that were missing. And none of those executives knew any spell that could rip apart the guardrail. None of them were even mages. That's ridiculous. Why would the workers' union rob themselves? Simple. They wanted the coverage to track and play the victim when they were the true culprits. Okay, who was talking about pure speculation earlier? After all, we have several reports confirming hostility between your client and the workers' unions. I think you'll find that those reports are exaggerated, if not entirely false. My client and Nora Morrison can testify to that fact. They obviously would. An employee just died due to your client's negligence. Mr. Draken has every reason to feign amicability with the unions. It would avoid further outrage. And Nora Morrison has no choice but to do the same, lest he be incriminated in the theft himself. More proof do you have that they aren't telling the truth? As I've said, I have several reports from many different individuals. They came from multiple diverse sources, and they all paint very vivid pictures of aggression between your client and the unions. Furthermore, there are far less bias than Stefanik Draken or Nora Morrison. She had a point, and I couldn't claim the reports were false without any proof. If you want to implicate Mr. Morrison, I think it's only fair that he be allowed to defend himself. I'm curious about what you mean exactly by these reports. Because you say they came from multiple different sources. Like, do you know who wrote those reports? Like, can you track them down and ask them about it? Because our theory is that the Phantom just like faked all these reports with the documents they found from the documents they stole from both the union and the factory. So if they did that, then like what do you mean when you say you have multiple sources? If we tracked down those people, would they say like, wait, what? I never wrote that? Or did the Phantom like pay them off? It seems a bit weird. Fine, let him testify, but it will be his word against dozens. It appears that both counsels are in agreement. Bailiff, please escort Mr. Morrison to the stand. And we're getting a lot of witnesses. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court. Hi, my name is Nora Morrison. I'm the Harbor Master of Ornax Harbor and Union Chief of the Ornax Industrial Union. Thank you for taking the stand today, Mr. Morrison. As you know, there was a theft that occurred at the refinery this morning. The prosecution is trying to imply that you may have been involved. Yeah, I heard. Could you please testify about the thefts that occurred at the union offices? It's clear you also believe they're related to the thefts at the refinery. Any details that might help us prove that would help a lot. Alright. Witness testimony. I don't know where all these reports of hostile tensions came from, but everything's great between Draken and us. Whoever this Phantom is, they've got nothing to do with that nonsense. They've been hitting everyone. Why would you say that? It's not just our offices and the ships. They broke into some of the union members' homes too. Those poor blokes had everything stolen from them. They even had to skip town because of it. They were good people too. Solid, law-abiding citizens. Okay, well, I got some bad news for you. As you can see, Mr. Morrison had very little motive to break into my client's office. The serial thief, meanwhile, has been robbing people all over the city. That's assuming the witness's testimony is true. Take a look at the crime reports. You'll see that a lot of the victims were members of the union. I unfortunately don't have access to the reports for those. What are you talking about? You're a prosecutor. Why wouldn't you have access to those reports? I'm not certain. I imagine it's related to the theft that occurred on the Imperial ship this morning. That's strange. Who would have the authority to prevent the Stillman from accessing those records? In any case, Ornax... I wonder who. In any case, Ornax is a large city with an average rate of crime. There's nothing to prove that any of those thefts are related to this either. There isn't even anything that proves these thefts are related to each other. Or it could be her dad also. There isn't even anything that proves these thefts are related to each other. Let's see about that.
Objection!
Wait, really? That's wrong? Wait, how's that wrong? They're good people to solid law-abiding citizens. Huh? You want me to present this?
Objection!
Okay, that's both of those should be correct, by the way. Okay, but whatever. I really didn't want to contradict Mr. Morrison, but this was the only piece I had left. There was nothing else that tied the robberies together, and I still didn't have a full idea of what the Phantom's motive was. But I had to do this. It was the only way to find out what was really going on in my city. Mr. Morrison, you said that the targets of the test were law-abiding citizens. Unfortunately, that's not entirely true. What are you talking about? I knew most of them. They were good people. That may be, but there's not one unfortunate fact that tied all of them together. They were all later arrested for treason against the crown. What? That's ridiculous. There have been no reports of that sort submitted to the city watch. What you're saying is crazy, my boy. I've known these people. Some of them were close friends of mine. They would have never gotten mixed up in that kind of business. I'm sorry, Mr. Morrison, but I've heard otherwise. The Mistwing Phantom hasn't just been stealing valuable items. They've been specifically targeting citizens who are secretly plotting against the kingdom. They're part of a larger plot that involves everyone in the city of Ornax. What are you even basing this off of, anyway? This testimony came directly from Lloyd von Sanctus, the Duke of Commerce and the ruling Lord of Ornax. Lloyd von Sanctus gave you this information. That's right, Sealand. Lloyd von Sanctus, the plaintiff of the trial. Lloyd von Sanctus, the man who would have every reason to have you fail. Tyrion? I may have miscalculated, but you seem to be so confident. Perhaps we should have the plaintiffs testify so we can know for sure. If von Sanctus really set me up, how could I fall for something like that? But it made so much sense. The Phantom's targets, the false report of hostilities. All of it seemed to be tied together by some greater plot. I don't think he's smart enough to do something like that, but there had to be a kernel of truth to what he told us earlier. Maybe he was telling the truth earlier. He might testify honestly if we called him. You know, these charges against Draken were laid by him. Even if he had told us the truth earlier, he'd never sabotage his own case by taking the stand now. We'll contact the Duke of Commerce and ask if he's willing to testify. Although, I can already imagine what his answer will be.
Objection!
Oh my god. Hello. Without warning, the large man pushed open the door to the courtroom and marched towards the stand. Mr. Morrison spread a grunt of confusion before he was quickly carried out of the room by two knights who had accompanied him. The man had a large figure that was only dwarfed by a gigantic battle axe he was holding in his hand. It was covered in scars, and he held the jaded expression of someone who lived in death and combat. His uniform was similar to the prosecution's clothing. Could he be who I thought he was? Lloyd need not take the stand, my testimony will suffice. What? Who are... Father? What do you... Father? That's her dad? The head of Osteel and the Grand General of Avant-Garde's military, he is apparently responsible for the death of countless revolutionaries. He seems to have a strained relationship with his daughter. This was the Grand General of Avant-Garde, the man responsible for countless deaths in the countryside. Von Sanctus suspected that he was involved in the thefts and false reports. I've been watching. Neither of you will get anywhere at this rate. Grand General, this is quite unprecedented. And? It looked like the judge ran through 1,000 possible responses in his head before he simply swallowed his fear and stayed silent. Father, why are you... Again with that, I will not accept insubordination, even from you, prosecutor. Grand General Stillman, why have you interrupted this trial? To give testimony, I will substantiate the defense's claims. What? You can't just... Your Honor, do something! No, I think I'm okay. What was he doing? None of this made any sense. I have no objections, I'll be giving my testimony now. Wait, what? Let me stop here for now, actually. Because it's been like an hour. Even though we're stopping like right in the middle of the trial, but... Oh, I didn't... Okay, I guess we're reading the testimony. This thief has been striking the house of multiple commoners, seemingly at random, or so it would seem. And without fail, the city watch was called to the scene of the crime, within hours of the crime being discovered. As the prosecutor said, it was clear someone other than the victim was reporting these robberies. Perhaps a bystander surely did make the report. And after searching each scene, the city watch found evidence of treason within their homes. The so-called evidence was poorly hidden, if at all. I see, so we're saying they were set up, right? These individuals were arrested by my men and placed into my custody in secret. However, they were clearly not guilty of treason. I see. Why was I seeing so many of his thoughts? The Apple horse only worked on targets who were unguarded or emotionally stressed. And he looked like the least stressed person in the room right now. I guess it didn't matter who the witness was. Does he know you have the eye and he's like intentionally thinking something different from what he's saying so to tell you or something? This was just another cross-examination. I just need to do what I've always done, pull the truth out of him. I just hope I could get through this without being charged with treason. Okay, let's stop here for now, for real. The fact that this guy had an objection animation definitely means that he's going to be a prosecutor later, right? Probably in case 5 or something. Because he had the whole animation for the objection, just like Area. Also, this testimony definitely convinced me he is definitely completely innocent. Like, he definitely did not like genocide a bunch of people in the countryside. He's definitely like being set up, or like he did it for the greater good or something. But like he's definitely got reasons. Still not clear to me who the culprit is. If I had to guess right now... If I had to guess right now, it's either someone who I haven't met yet, or it's like one of you two. Even though you're the defendant, but... You know. I don't know why I'm so suspicious of you. I don't know, could we even, like, arrest you? Because you're, like, the head of the most powerful house in the legal system? Like, could we even arrest you if you're the culprit? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, stopping here for now. See you next time for this cross-examination.